Back in the early 2010s, the digital advertising industry made a bold promise. Through automated, real-time bidding, you could serve the perfect ad to a specific human being at the exact moment they were ready to buy. But automation created a blind spot. A shadow economy quickly emerged based on arbitrage. Operators realized they could buy cheap, automated web traffic for pennies and resell those fake visitors to ad exchanges as premium human eyeballs. One operator, a guy from Brooklyn named Boris, freely admitted to reporters he bought his visitors. Within 5 years, his network of sites generated 10 million views a day. To put that in perspective, he generated the monthly web traffic of the Los Angeles Times every 4 days. Because this operation dealt in digital space rather than physical routes, there were no inventory limits. Using basic cloud computing, an operator could scale their fraudulent traffic to infinity for almost zero cost. By replacing human media buyers with automated software and severing the transaction from any physical product, digital advertising had built the environment for a flawless, invisible crime. To understand the sheer scale of this invisible economy, let's look at an event from 2016. This chart shows AppNexus impression volume. After enacting a quality filter, volume dropped 92%, down to 20 billion. But look at the right side. When the fake inventory was purged, the price for valid human attention skyrocketed 800%. Even today, bad actors operate right out in the open. Here is a post from an advertising forum, where an operator admits 99% of their traffic is paid bot activity, yet their sources consistently score high with legacy verification firms. But reading the press releases from industry trade associations, you would think the problem was solved. This chart from the Trustworthy Accountability Group claims the invalid traffic rate for their certified channels holds steady at just 0.79%. That massive discrepancy caught the attention of Dr. Augustine Fou. With a PhD in materials science from MIT, Dr. Fou started looking under the hood of these black box systems, acting as an independent investigator. He found the ad industry had successfully masked a 90% fraud rate for a decade, simply by relying on self-reported metrics from the firms incentivized to ignore the problem. Dr. Fou realized that the software works exactly as intended. Ad fraud persists because the financial incentives are aligned to keep it alive. The entire programmatic supply chain, from the ad exchanges to the legacy verification vendors themselves, earns revenue based on the total volume of impressions flowing through their pipes, which creates a fatal conflict of interest. If a verification vendor actually blocked all the bots, the total transaction volume on the exchange would collapse. Their own revenue would drop by 90%. So the fraud persists. Everyone in the supply chain gets paid per impression, giving every single intermediary a massive financial incentive to look the other way. And while the intermediaries got rich, the actual brands footing the bill suffered. For 15 years, massive corporations eagerly shifted their marketing budgets into digital channels, only to see their top-line revenue growth flatline. It comes down to a concept called greenfield marketing. Broad-reach media, like television, acts like a wide beam, pitching your brand to the 99% of the market who don't know you yet. Digital marketing is a narrow laser, catching the 1% of people who are already at the bottom of the funnel. But human usage of the internet maxed out around 2010. So when advertisers poured billions of new dollars into that narrow digital laser, it didn't reach new humans. The excess spend was simply absorbed by a swarm of bots that generated zero real-world sales. We can see the fallout in the public filings. Procter & Gamble, one of the largest advertisers on Earth, dedicates over half of its marketing budget to digital. Over a 15-year period, their compound annual growth rate was a stagnant 0.6%. Compare that to Geico. They kept a massive portion of their budget dedicated to broad-reach television campaigns, ensuring they consistently reached new, human audiences. They grew at 8.5% over that same period. The pivot to digital was a trap. By optimizing their budgets for easily measurable clicks, megabrands starved the broad awareness campaigns they actually needed to attract new human customers. Federal inquiries and investigative reports are now exposing the systemic failures of legacy brand safety firms. The scrutiny has reached the federal level. The Department of Justice and the Naval Criminal Investigative Service are now probing the conduct and capabilities of the industry's verification giants. In response, advertisers are turning to structural alternatives like FouAnalytics, independent platforms that finally allow them to see for themselves exactly where their money is going. By using cybersecurity-led measurement instead of basic marketing tags, these tools can detect the mobile apps loading ads in the background at 2 a.m. and identify the bot spikes that typical analytics software completely misses. Corporate growth can be restored. It just requires brands to demand independent transparency, stop buying fake engagement, and rebalance their budgets toward the real humans waiting in the greenfield.